So let's look at an example of where we actually use cdev.h. Well, not look at an example, but rather point you to an example. Let me just. I'm trying to get my recording correct. So this is actually a question that was asked 1 month ago, so it's pretty recent. Someone who's trying to write a Linux kernel module using cdev .h, so using the character device abstraction. So take a look, and there's an answer there, and yeah. Okay, so k objects are group are associated with a specific type, and these specific types, they basically describe the default behavior for a family of k objects. So each k object basically has a type, so it can be, that type can be, for example, yeah, defining some functionality or some family that this k object belongs to. You have a release pointer that points to the deconstructor called when k objects reference count reach to 0. So for each type, you have, for each k type, you basically have a counter, a release pointer yeah, release pointer. That release pointer that points to the deconstructor when, for example, there are no longer any k objects of this k type. And you also have this fs oops variable that points to system file system ops operation basically, and this describes the behavior of the sysfs file on read and write. This is basically a predefined predefined behavior for system reads and writes. There are k-sets, and k-sets basically aggregate kernel objects. So you have kernel object sets, and they aggregate a collection of k objects. So for example, let's say all block devices. Uh, k-sets groups, they are different. They're, they're different from basically k objects in the sense that the k-sets group um, groups group related kernel objects together, so they are sort of in a list together, whereas k types enable kernel objects to share common operations. So in general, there are a handful of k types. There are very few k types, but there may be many cases. So you can have a k set that has a subset of objects that belong to the same k type, for example. And it also allows k objects of identical k types to be grouped into different k sets. So you can have, yeah, divide the objects into multiple k sets instead of having them all in the same k set.